Welcome back, everyone. So I wanted to do a grade for Star Citizen for the year. I did start around this time last year, but actually it's about a month from now. I started in November. But now before CitizenCon, I think is a good time to do this as we kind of do a review on what has been said versus what has been delivered. I'm going to use this site by Greg to help me do this, and I appreciate him putting this together. That being said, there's also a friend of mine, Scarred Citizen, that did do a review as well. There's no audio here, but it's a good way to kind of take a look at what are some of the features that were shown in CitizenCon last year, but versus what was actually delivered. Some of the features may be missing here. I will be including 324.2 as it's basically getting ready to come through release. Is it ready or not? I don't. That's a separate story. I have mixed feelings on that, but that being said, I'm going to include it. That being said, I'm not going to include 4.0 though, because it's an Evocati. I'm not a part of Evocati. Even if I was, I would not include it. It needs to be something that's pretty much ready to go out the door for me to really be including in here. I don't have any relationship with CIG either. I don't get chips for giveaways and stuff like that. I would love that to give that to my community. I'm not a part of the in crowd to get any of that stuff. That being said, as I mentioned before, Scarred Citizen, I'll put a link to his channel. I appreciate him putting that together. And I think it's a good way to take a look at a good rundown of what was said, much like this website's got here, versus what was actually released. Grumpy Eyes also, I'll put a link to him as well. I appreciate him shouting me out when I was a lowly channel. And he's doing more music now, so I'll put a link to his music channel. But I appreciate those folks for their support and shouting me out when I was just a wee little channel. Here we are looking at the list of the big features. So as we see here, so I'm going to do a grade based off of the A through F scale and the American kind of grading system. And I also had my community through a poll share their feedback as well. It was a rough spot, and it's going to kind of correlate with what I've got here, although there were some more positive grades than I'm going to actually give it here. So I'll just go ahead and lay that out. I actually gave it a C for the year. I was actually more in the D category, but I did upgrade it to a C, largely given my feedback from my community, and I appreciate those that are taking the time to do that. I did raise it up because of most people were more positive than I was in the original outlook. That being said, let's take a look at what we have here. So we have server meshing, which has not been released, but there's been testing on it. Pyro, another a new system. It's been tested as well now in Evocati. We haven't seen it, so technically it's still being tested on, but it's not been released. Master modes. I don't have a large way, so this is my, again, my big release here is that this is all based off my opinion. And so I don't have a big say in master modes one way or the other. Obviously, we all use it, but I don't use it enough versus the old model. And I didn't get to use old model compared to the master modes enough to really have a big opinion one way or the other. So I know some people do have more of an opinion on that. I don't add a lot of weight to this. I don't have a large opinion either way. It's just my true feeling on it. The FPS HUD and UI has been updated. I have mixed feelings on that as well because old one worked in some ways. I typically find myself clicking the button to go back to the old HUD. So, but I don't do FPS missions. I'm just doing bunking running. It's not like I'm really doing anything super official. I am able to still take over Idris's solo and stuff like that. So I'm not saying like I'm a pro FPS player or anything like that, but it's an okay enough experience for me that I have been enjoying it and been able to use it for the ends of my means. Personal hangars has been nice as well, but it's not quite there yet. I mean, as far as I'd love to just spawn in my hangar, get my ship, and get off and go, right? The idea of, and maybe that's coming soon because of the whole new bed being offered in the CitizenCon pack. But for now, there's a lot of time wasting as far as getting on the trams. It's cool the first couple times. After the first couple times, you're like, okay, can I just get where I'm going as far as the time sync is concerned? Engineering, I don't know what to expect totally with engineering. I might get the general basis of the idea, but it's hard to say actually if I'll even overly enjoy. I mean, I'll enjoy aspects of it, but sometimes it might be a hindrance more than my current gameplay than I'm looking to see. Base building, same thing with engineering. These two both intrigue me in ways, but then I'm also don't know what to expect in some ways as well. And until it comes out, a lot of what people will tell me down in the comments or below, which I appreciate those giving the feedback, will give me some insights. But until it comes out, we just don't know exactly how it'll all play out because even then it could still be a zero pass or a first pass and things could change wildly from what they think it'll be versus what it'll actually become. Master modes is a good example of that, where the flight model is totally one way and it's been flipped around and it works a totally different day way. And engineering and base building could play out to be the same way, where it works one day like one way, and then master mode for base building could come out and it could be totally different. Here's a look at some of the other finer details. We won't go through each one of these, but yeah, it's just one of those things where these things are some things to go through. I just wanted to share again, my biggest thing is the assets. I want to see, for me, having a higher grade, This is more like a sandbox game, and I think it should not always just be that. I think there should be, maybe reps and stuff, but it's not a standard MMO game. It's not really quest driven. Those quests do help you get going, and I appreciate them, but at the end of the day, I really want to see assets, and that's going to give me a higher grade as far as, let's see more planets, let's see more ships. Those ships that are being shown, let's not just show them, let's release them. So those are where I'm going to actually add more weight to their grade, is going to be from assets. And again, this is all just my personal opinion, but that's something I want to see. I would love to see, what's that expectation? Something like an Ironclad, Polaris, things like that, at least twice a year. Ideally, quarterly would be much better. So if we can get to quarterly releases on ships, that would be great. Being able to actually, I'm just going to scroll through this list. You can read this as I go through it. But I just want to add additional commentary. And I don't want this to be super long. I do want to talk about the Polaris in a separate video. Probably I wanted to put it in here. It's not going to fit in this time frame, so we'll talk about the Polaris in a separate video. But actually, this will kind of negatively affect. I would be back towards a D if they don't get the Polaris out by the end of the year. But I can't imagine that will happen given how close and how many things they've shown about the Polaris at this point. I suspect it'll be ready by November. But if it's not, that's going to negatively affect it. Same thing with Pyro. If Pyro's not ready by about March or so next year, I'll be disappointed. I don't know if it will. Yeah, I mean, I guess given my criteria, again, talking about new plants and stuff like that, the C is kind of talking about, hey, I've mentioned this in other videos. You can find it. I don't think 4.0 is even close to coming out this year, but it sounds like it's going to be coming out later on. So it seems like it's around the corner enough that it's probably going to happen. So anyways, that's really the long and short of it. That is my grade that I give it. I appreciate those that have actually supported my channel as I continue to grow, and as we look through this stuff. We're all supporters and pledges of the game overall. So, I mean, I'm not meant to be super negative here or be overly positive, because again, it's been a rough ride, it seems like. But again, I only have 1 year to go off of, so it'll be much better next year when I have at least this year to look back as well. But yeah, all in all, I think it's been a rough go at it. So I look forward to what they have to say, and maybe they'll curtail what they'll say based upon so far things that have been completed versus what's not been completed for the year. But I appreciate those that have taken time to like and subscribe all the different videos I've got here. Again, as we have kind of a year in review on, I've only been doing this for about a year. And I appreciate those that have taken the time to drop comments around. And I do my best to respond to all those comments as much as I can. And yeah, again, I appreciate you guys' support. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.